my channel New Zealand Stitch Bird, and as it says in the name, I'm actually all the way down in New Zealand. So we're in the summer season, as you can tell by the dress that I'm wearing today. This is quite an old make. This is a new lock pattern 6095. I've just got the packet sleeve here. Very simple, sort of a shift dress with a wee cap sleeve, or you can do it sleeveless. And you can also put a band around the middle part if you want to, which obviously I didn't do on mine. And it has a zip up the back, so I did an invisible zip. And just to finish mine off, I just added a little bit of ric-rac. This is really quite an old fabric, it's a vintage fabric, and I thought I just wanted something really simple for this pattern. So yeah, if you want to make a really quick, easy dress, this could be the one for you. Comes with a wee tote bag, and I've got a little bit of a plan. I might end up making that one as well coming up in the near future. But today is all about my 2025 most favourite pattern. And you've probably already guessed already, it is the Belle Dress by Starlark. I made it for a wedding in the Gold Coast. I did it in a very plain, well, it was plain, it was navy, and it had the overlay and kind of a heavy cotton lace for the sleeves and the skirt part, and the rest of it was just a navy rayon. And I was really happy with the way it turned out, but I really wanted to make another one just using a single layer of fabric and just to see how it would fall, how it would hang. So the one I'm about to show you is done in a rayon and animal print. I'm really into animal print at the moment, and I'm really happy with it. It fits really well across the bust area, and it sort of goes out. So really the most, I guess, important fitting area would be around the bust. The pattern is very generous in sizes, Australian size 4 to size 36, and that gives you a bust of 39 3/4 all the way up to 67 3/4 inches. So really generous in their sizing. And obviously with the flaring out at the bottom, you haven't got to worry so much about the hip circumference. So I actually hacked my pattern a little bit, and again, I didn't have quite the amount of fabric that I wanted, but I managed to get out the sort of look that I wanted. So I added a frill to the bottom. I cut my skirt, I think it was about 5 inches shorter than added on a frill. And then I didn't quite have enough to do the puff sleeve, how they have done it. So they've got it with the elastic going through the middle, and I'm just not sure whether that sleeve's really me, or the other option is it sort of goes to roughly to your elbow, just below your elbow. So I cut my sleeve like I did with my previous Belle. I sort of cut it around where the elastic would go through in the middle there, so it creates like a wee sort of a puff sleeve. But the fact that it's in rayon, it doesn't really stick out. This is quite the same as what it did with the cotton meshy lace that I used for my previous one. I have to say this is one of my most favourite patterns. It goes together really well. There's quite a lot of pieces to it, but don't let that intimidate you. Just follow it step by step. And surprisingly enough, it didn't take me too long to make it. Once you've prepped the back part, because on the back you have to do some shirring, and I think the shirring really makes it. It just cinches it in at the back. I suit things cinched in the back, but not all the way around with elastic. I feel like sometimes it sort of doesn't really flatter. They're quite the same, but certainly at the back it looks great. And then you've got flat front with the buttons, and I had buttons all going all the way down. Bit of a story with the buttons. I went through my stash and I just didn't know. I didn't want to put black buttons on it. I'm not a big black accessories, or I don't wear a lot of black. Unfortunately, it doesn't really do a lot for me, even though there's quite a bit of black obviously in this animal print. I did a little bit of top stitching in black, and normally you'd think go-to would be black buttons, but I found it a little bit harsh on it. So I was hoping to get some tortoiseshell buttons or some variegated buttons that had a little bit of brown in and maybe a bit of a cream or beige, and I couldn't find anything anywhere. I actually went to Spotlight. So in the end, I went back to my home stash and I put some tiny little metal sort of coppery buttons on, and I think that just did the ticket. It was great. I didn't want overly big buttons. I didn't want it to take over. They're kind of lost in the pattern anyway. On my previous one, I had the same issue. Didn't know what to do about buttons, and I actually did covered buttons, and that worked really well. So yes, this would be my most favourite dress because I feel it's flattering. I like the detail with the front yoke area. I like the fact that it's got the V. I'm a big fan of the V. I like the soft gathers across the shoulders, the slight puff sleeve, the button opening all the way down. Yeah, I just think it's just fantastic. So if you're wanting a really special dress, I would highly recommend the Belle Dress. It's definitely one of my most favourite patterns this year. So yeah, what's next? Well, I have been busy and I have finally finished my coda jacket, which I'm going to talk to you about in my next video. I had a few trials and tribulations with, again, the buttons, but my son came to the rescue, and I'll tell you what we did to get around that. So that's coming up in my next vlog. Plans, I think I'm quite keen to make one of these wee tote bags, and I've seen them around and they're really quite pricey, and they're made out of quilting fabric. And because I've got some quilting fabric left over from my coda jacket, I thought I would make a matching one. So that is coming up soon too. As far as my rest of my plans, I really want to do some more plain tops, just really short on plain tops. I want to do a plain navy one, and I've got some nice cream silk that I bought from the fabric store, and I want to make that up too. So those two tops I hope to get cut out in the next week or two. Not a lot of sewing is going to happen in the next week. I'm going away down south to the Queenstown area, so just be relaxing, reading a good book. I'll let you know, I'm starting to read it soon. I'll let you know what the title is when I come back next week and let you know whether it's a good read or not. And hoping to do a little bit of maybe a wee bit of crochet. I've got a blanket that I've started a million years ago, and hopefully I might get the odd square or thing, so I'll talk about that next vlog as well and show you my progress. I'm hoping to get my final squares made for that simplicity top that I mentioned a few vlogs ago, where it's got the crochet peggy squares, and I'm going to do the version with them down the back. So that's in the pipeline, get that all finished, and then I can get it made up. So it's quite a short one today because I'm heading away, but I just wanted to touch base and again thank everyone for tuning in, and look forward to catching you again next week when I talk about my coda jacket make and some little tips and tricks along the way. And yeah, so if you're not sewing this week, I hope you're enjoying the Christmas break, and we'll catch you soon. Bye now.